What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I want to give you guys a quick market update as Bitcoin is seeing a slight little dump ski to the downside. Now, if you guys watch the channel, you will know this move to the downside is something we've been looking for over the past week or two on my live streams, in my premium Discord, and even in my free Discord. So in this video, I want to go over the price action, let you guys know where I stand, where I think price can go in the short and medium term. And I also want to cover those bear signals that we saw that helped us anticipate this move to the downside. That way, next time it happens, you guys can get on the train before it leaves the station, hop on, and make some money off of these moves, not only to the upside, but also the downside. Now, I also want to cover some of the key levels we need to be watching to the downside, where we can expect some form of strong support or a strong bounce. So stick around for that. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of these urgent market updates or awesome tutorials that we upload to the channel. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Again, I want to go over those bear signals that were making us anticipate this move to the downside over the past week or so. And I also want to talk about those key levels below us that we need to keep our eye on for some strong support. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin 4-hour time frame. Now, I want to first off talk about what was making us expect this move down. Now, it did get a little bit dicey because if you guys remember, we did have a little bit of an ascending triangle here up against our key level of resistance, which is typically a very bullish sign. Now, there were things on our indicators that were pointing to the downside, kind of making me take that ascending triangle with a little bit of a grain of salt, because although these patterns do break to the upside more often than they break down, when you have money flow coming out on a lot of different time frames, as well as bearish signals such as bearish divergences forming on some key time frames, a lot of times that can invalidate these bullish patterns, and that's what I want to go over right now. So you guys will know that we do have this key level of resistance at about 25,250 or about 25K even. You could even draw this as a box, but this was the ascending triangle that we were looking at. A lot of people were looking at this, and it is a beautiful ascending triangle, right? You have your nice flat level of resistance, and you have your higher lows being put in here, giving you that bullish pattern that typically does break to the upside. Now, one of the reasons I was taking this pattern with a little bit of a grain of salt was because we had money flow coming out on Market Cipher B on multiple time frames, right? You can see here on our 2-hour time frame, you have money flow clearly coming to the downside as your price action continues to the upside. Now, I know that a lot of times when we talk about divergences, I think a lot of people relate that either to the RSI or the momentum waves on Market Cipher B, but you have to understand that not only can you get these divergences on momentum waves, but you can also get them on your money flow. And you can see here as we continue to make higher highs on our price action, not only did we have our money flow coming out, but we also somewhat had our momentum coming out. If you're counting this high up here, you can see that your momentum waves are generally making lower highs, which is a bearish signal. So that is kind of what was making me feel a little bit bearish, even though we had this bullish pattern, and eventually this did break to the downside. Now, I do want to go over some of those bearish signals that we were looking at that were a little bit stronger of an indication that we were going to get this move down, and that was on the daily time frame. Now, I think we may have covered this in my last market update on Monday, or maybe it was Wednesday. I don't know when I record these videos, but I think in my last market update, we did go over this actual signal, which is the bearish divergence on the daily. Now, you can see we are making higher highs on our price action into our key level of resistance, which is very important, right? You want to have that key level of resistance to give you a strong push down on top of that divergence. And you can see here, you have your price action making higher highs with your momentum waves, whether you want to count it from all the way back here or right here from this little wave, you were making lower highs, showing you that price is creeping up, but your momentum and money is leaving the asset. That should make you scratch your head and say, hey, this doesn't really make sense. This is kind of looking unsustainable to me, because if price is going up but money's leaving the asset, that just doesn't make sense, and it does warrant a correction to the downside. And when you have this popping up on something like the daily, this can give you a big move down. And this is why I was talking about it all throughout my live streams this week and in my market updates. Now, on top of this, guys, not only did we have the bearish divergence, but we also had money flow coming into the red on some high time frames, such as the 16 and the 12 hour, right? You could see our money flow not only was just generally coming out also signaling that we may reverse this trend to the downside. But we also had it on the 16-hour with money flow actually crossing over into the red. And that was another indication, tons and tons of confluence pointing to the downside here. And I'm not going to lie, guys, sometimes I feel a little crazy on those live streams. You guys will know if you watched, this week, half the time I'm like, man, I feel like I'm the only person calling for downside. I kind of feel crazy, but the indicators are pointing down, so I have to trust the indicators. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. Nothing's right 100% of the time. Sometimes you just got to take the risk. But in this case, the indicators were very trustworthy. Shout out to the money flow and shout out to Crypto Face. But, guys, continuing on here, you can see our 10-hour also had confirmed bearish divergences. Again, another very, very bearish sign. Also, we had our money flow crossing to the downside. So you have your higher highs on your price action with your lower highs on your momentum waves and your money flow coming out. That's 3 levels of confluence, and you're at key level of resistance, which makes it an even stronger indication. So moving on here, this was, 5-hour money flow coming out. 4-hour money flow is also coming out. Again, just some of the things. The 2-hour money flow was a big thing we were looking at as well. You can see money flow was coming out, and we had crossed into the red, right? So this is a lot of the things that we've been talking about in my premium Discord, in the free live streams on YouTube, in the free Discord. This is what we were talking about and why we were expecting this move down, and we finally got it. Now that you guys know what we were looking at and why we were able to anticipate this move down, let's talk about where I'm expecting price to go in the short and the medium term and kind of just break down this price action and what's going on. So let's go ahead and turn on our TA here. Let me just go ahead and turn all of this stuff on. And as you guys know, if I come down to a lower time frame, you will know that this is kind of the local range we've been looking at. As we got this move up, we started to range, and this is basically how we look at the markets. We get the big move up, then you start to range. Beautiful, beautiful range trading to be had on this price action here in these ranges using the volume profile. Shout out to the volume profile. I swear, if this was a company, which it's not, it's just a tool, but if it was a company, I'd be begging for a sponsorship because these are the most powerful trading tools that you can possibly use, in my personal opinion. There's definitely other ways to be successful, but for me, the volume profiles I feel like they give us x-ray vision into the market, and they just hit more than they don't. So if it works, why change anything? So again, we were expecting to bing bong around in this range until we broke out below it, and that is exactly what we got. Now, again, we were expecting that move to the downside based off of all those bearish signals we just talked about, and we finally got that breakdown. And guys, we are coming down to that key level almost exactly where we were looking for actual support. Now, it's too early to tell if this is going to hold that support, but we are approaching the level, and it is a very important level. As you guys know, we talk about how when we start to trade inside of these value areas, this means that Bitcoin, you could think of this as Bitcoin finding a fair value or finding balance, right? Price likes to trade in these prices. They are accepted. When we come down here, people are like, oh God, this is so cheap. I'm going to buy it up. They buy it up. And then it comes up here. Oh God, it's a little expensive. Let me sell it. They sell it back to the bottom. And then they buy it back to the top, sell it back to the bottom, buy it back to the top. And then eventually, obviously, that range is not going to happen forever. Otherwise, we would get no fluctuations in price on Bitcoin other than that range. But obviously, that is going to break to the upside or the downside at some point, and we finally got that move. And when you get price deviating out of your fair value between your value area high and your value area low, likely it likes to seek another area of previous balance. If it's not going to go ahead and create a new area balance, likely it will go hunt out a previous area where price had a fair value. So what happened when we left this volume profile? We went straight towards a previous value area, and more specifically, I've been talking about this a lot on my live streams, more specifically, price will snipe out that POC of a previous range, right? So you can see here, we have a previous range right here where we were kind of trading a little bit lower than we were up here, and then we broke this area of balance. Price is naturally going to snipe out the next high volume node or point of control, which is right here from that previous area of balance, and that is exactly what happened. We printed this blood diamond, and boom, we snapped right to our previous POC from this area of consolidation right here. So this is the exact level level we were looking to potentially get a drop to. And if we pull up our VPVR here, guys, give me a second. I'll just pull that up. You can see if we pull up our visible range volume profile, you can really just see how much volume is right here. This is why I was looking at this level. You can see that a lot of volume came in at this level, making it likely a strong support level to get a bounce off of. So as of right now, guys, if we wind up losing this level, because now that I look at the indicators coming on over to the 2 hour, you know, we almost got a bullish divergence here, but it absolutely got invalidated, making it a little bit risky to take that trade because you actually don't have that bull div. If you come up to the 4 hour, we almost got a bull div as well, but it is now invalidated. So, you know, no real good confirmations here. You know, we almost had that 90-minute bull div, just got invalidated. You know, that 1 hour, just nothing really giving us a good entry signal here because, you know, I've been talking about this level a lot, saying if we could come down here, this is where I'm looking for longs. But as of right now, as I look at the chart currently, I am really not seeing any good entry signals into a long position. So maybe we start to range around down here a little bit. And as long as we remain within this previous value area now that we've left this value area, right, I want to break this down for you guys so you can understand it. This was your previous value area between the value area low and the value area high. Price broke down, hunted out a previous value area, which was a previous area we were trading in between this value area low and this value area high. And by the way volume profiles behave, typically, if you break below the value area high and you get accepted back into this previous area of balance, you will likely bing bong around in this range, going from the value area high to the value area low, back up to the value area high, so on and so forth, right? So if we do not get any bullish confirmations at this level, which is $23,000 even, with the confluence of this high volume node and this local golden pocket, if we cannot get confirmations here, we may have to let price kind of live down here a little bit, get accepted back into the value area, and start to bing bong around here so we can finally get an entry. And maybe that entry just hasn't formed yet. So maybe price hangs out down here, and then finally we get an entry signal to get into a long position and hopefully get back up into this value area and then finally crack 25K. And potentially, if we can do that, guys, if we can get back up there, and this is not the start of a giant breakdown, and we can get back up here and break this 25K level, that's where we open the door to much more upside, getting into that 28 to 30K level that everybody is talking about and getting really excited about. But we can't talk about that until we get out of this value area and back up into this one. And then before I let you guys go, I do just want to bring up the 2-day. As you guys know, this was another thing making us lean very bearish this week and a little bit of last week. That is a 2-day bearish divergence. You can see this coming in at key resistance right up here. Higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves, money flow coming out on the 2-day, as well as the time frames below the 2-day, such as the daily, the 16, and the 12-hour, which are now crossing into the red. So we could wind up seeing, if this bear div does confirm on the Heikinashi candles on the 2-day, this could play out for a bigger move to the downside. And on top of that, guys, this is already confirmed on regular candles, which is kind of what gave me the confidence to kind of sit on that bearish sentiment and expect this move down, because it's very unlikely that a bearish divergence on a strong time frame like the 2-day, a very high time frame, it's very unlikely that that will give you absolutely nothing. So, guys, real quick, gonna pull that TA back up. If we lose this point of control, naturally, there you go, guys, starting to get a little bit of a bounce here, but being very cautious just because we don't have any good entry signals. But we are, look at that sniped level, perfect bounce off that previous POC. That is the power of the volume profiles. But guys, you might be asking yourself, what happens if we don't hold that POC? And simply, if we don't hold that POC, I am expecting to potentially just range around in this value area. So the next level to the downside, if we continue lower, will be that previous value area low coming in at $22,640. So we'll have to see if we can get a strong bounce off here, guys. Too soon to tell. But again, that next level down is $22,642. And with all that being said, guys, I think that's all I got for this market update. I hope you guys learned something. I hope I was able to give you insight into kind of how I'm feeling about the current price action and what I expect in the near future or the medium term. And hopefully you guys were able to find this valuable. So I think that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candle out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal winning by a landslide.